Good evening and welcome to the end of the first day of the Security Watch India conference being hosted here at the Hotel Lalit on the 9th of December 2009, New Delhi. And with me, I have the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Galatas, who is the head of the Department of Asymmetric Threats, Joint Military Intelligence Division, Greece. Welcome to India and to Delhi, Dr. Galatas.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Doctor, we'd like to know, you made an excellent presentation on CBRN. Like a lot of acronyms and like a lot of alphabets which need to be explained, we'd like you to tell us what is the real danger about CBRN or CBRNE to our viewers.
Okay. First of all, CBRNE stands for chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and E for explosives, because explosives always accompany these kind of threats. Before 9/11, as I already told, it was NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical, but people make funny of that, saying that nobody cares, NBC. Now it's CBRN, and I think that the threat is real. The only thing that we don't know is when it will happen, because I think that after 9/11, all the terrorist organizations should seek something even bigger. And I think this even bigger thing should be something with chemical or radiological. Biological, it's like the flu pandemic we are facing now, but with more zeros, if it was smallpox. But the distribution pattern, it's like the flu pandemic that we are facing now. So I think it's first chemical and then nuclear, dirty bombs.
What does it take for someone to poison the city's water system? Just will one canister of cyanide or some nerve agent or something toxin be enough?
I think to poison the water is a very difficult, if not impossible. I'm talking for the whole city, but you can do it regionally, and this is quite easy. You can use a chemical, a poison or something, and you can poison a certain part, a small part of the city. But if we are talking about the whole water system, then it's difficult, because all these systems, they do have some security measures, usually with live organisms like the live little fish, that they are very sensitive to these chemicals. So even with a very, very tiny quantities, these fish are dead. So there is an alert, and we cut the provision of water. But you cannot do that in every section, in every district, in every small community of Delhi or Athens. So this is the big problem.
Smallpox and other dreaded diseases, communicable diseases, the difficulty to control them. Thus far, no terrorist organization, to our knowledge or to the public knowledge, has actually used an agent like that, a biological agent or a nerve agent or a chemical agent. But what are the risks?
Of course, you cannot control a disease. You cannot direct it to go to a certain direction like the chemical cloud. This means that it might strike the enemy of the terrorists, but it might strike their own people and their own families, their own children. So I think that they are very reluctant. They have to be totally crazy or psychiatric to do that. But with chemical and radiological, they can harm what they are targeting in a very effective way. This is why I don't think that the biologicals is the #1 priority.
So, if we believe that there is a radiological threat within our near vicinity, what should be the first thing that we should do besides informing the police?
Well, if we have an incident somewhere in a very busy place, in a mosque, in a shopping mall or somewhere, there is the rule of 1, 2, and 3. This means that if you see one person down, okay, it might be normal. If you see two persons down, then you have to think what's going on. If you see three or more, then you run away, you secure the perimeter, and ask for assistance. That's a very simple way not to interfere in the wrong place, the wrong time, and to avoid casualties. Of course, we notify the police or the fire service, and they notify their superiors, and finally we activate the hazmat or CBRN units. But as I already mentioned, it will be too late, because if there is a release of a CBRN agent, those who will remain on site will be either dead or contaminated. The rest, imagine yourself, you see people falling down, you run like hell, and you go to every possible hospital. That's the big problem, that all the hospitals should be prepared, at least in a minimal way, to deal with chemical and radiological casualties. Because the biologicals is like the flu casualties we have every day, but even in that case you have to have certain knowledge. Is it flu or anthrax? How can you discriminate if you have no idea about anthrax? So it will be either flu or flu. So knowledge is power, especially with biological agents.
So, in times of war, and the Geneva Conventions or other gentlemen's agreements have that you are not allowed to shoot at the Red Cross or people who are medically assisting people out of the war zone, no matter if they belong to the enemy. But like you said in your presentation, there is a possibility that terrorists may not be so scrupulous and they may strike at hospitals to begin with to incapacitate the city system to cope with other problems.
Yes, I will agree with you. The difference of new era terrorists compared with the conventional terrorists is that they don't care about the consequences. They don't care about the public opinion. They don't want the public to be in their side, so they don't care about casualties. This means that if you kill the hospital, you kill the hope of all the casualties. So then there is no hope at all. This is why this is the most evil, the most satanic scenario of a CBRN terrorism. You attack the only place that all the casualties will go. They will not go to the government buildings, they will not go to the banks, they will not go to the airports, they will go to the hospital. But if the hospital is contaminated, they will only have to pray. Okay, so I think this is the most perfect scenario with the ultimate catastrophic casualties.